Tēnā koutou. Nai tua huriri, nai tahu whānui, tēnā koutou. Nau mai, whakatau mai. Āpiti hono tātai hono. Te hunga mātei ke te hunga mātei. Āpiti hono tātai hono. Te hunga ore ki te hunga ora. Tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou. Tēnā tātou katoa. Today, the second earthquake and the tragic loss of 185 lives. It's a chance for all of us to remember those people and stand with the families, the loved ones and the friends who grieve them. In some respects, 10 years sounds like a long time, but for many it will feel like just yesterday that Christchurch, this region and indeed New Zealand was rocked by the events. The earthquake and aftershocks affected people in complex and diverse ways. The toll could not have been more significant, and daily reminders made it harder. A fractured landscape, aftershocks, struggling friends and neighbours, and children with deep and unseen scars. 10 years on, there will be people still living their daily lives with the long shadow of that day. Today, I want to take the opportunity to say to all those who may still feel overwhelmed, who may still feel uncertain, sad, tired, anxious. You survived an event which by right should not occur in anyone's lifetime. I hope you find the space to be kind to yourself, as you've no doubt been to others who you knew were carrying the same burden. To those who lost loved ones, the grief has been even more immense. Today we not only mark the loss of 185 lives, but we remember and we celebrate these people, the joy they gave, the memories made, the lives they lived. Haere, haere, haere atura. I remember so clearly how the country threw its support behind Canterbury in the months and years following the quake, raising funds, holding tributes, downing tools during moments of silence. We all felt so keenly the enormity of what had happened. It's the Kiwi way to be stoic, and sometimes the pressure to be okay or to have moved on. I want to acknowledge all past and present members of the Quake Families Trust, which has provided such significant support over the last decade and helped shape the annual commemorations. I want to acknowledge all those who are staff, the Christchurch Mayor and City Councillors, ministers, members of Parliament, international diplomats, family and friends. And I would like to acknowledge the children who lived through the earthquake and grew up in its aftermath. Some of these children will be teenagers now, or have left school and started jobs or university. In the past, we've called this the generation of the rebuild. But they are also a generation that will create a legacy. Here in Canterbury, you saw the impact of a natural disaster on children, and professionals across Canterbury, educationalists, mental health specialists, occupational therapists, social workers, all came together to design a program to support those children. You made an enormous difference, and now that program will be rolled out across New Zealand. Out of such a traumatic time for our children, I hope grows a comfort and support for all children and an entire generation to come. And finally, today we remember the many people who died in the earthquake who were foreign nationals. The families of these may not have been able to be here today due to travel restrictions, but our flags fly at half-mast for them today too. It's been a hugely difficult decade for this city. At times, I'm sure it's felt almost impossible. But as we look ahead, I see hope. I see energy and optimism. And I see Christchurch taking its rightful place amongst New Zealand's best and brightest cities. Helen Lowe, from Leaving the Red Zone, an anthology of earthquake poetry. The poem, titled The Sparrows, talks about how birds were absent in the city following the earthquake. I threw old bread onto the island of grass in our own grey sea and waited and waited. And then finally, they came, their wings clouding the sun.
Thank you, Prime Minister.